Welcome back to the Stephen Knight Show. Adam, how's it going?
It's going great, Steven. How are you?
Can't complain. How was the weekend?
It was wonderful, actually. We were up in the 80s, so it was hot. We skipped over spring. Summer's here, but went to brunch, went outside a lot, went to the roof of our building, went on a hike on Sunday. It feels like, it feels like we're back. I know we're not back yet, but it feels like this cold winter's over and it's kind of back to being close to normal.
Yeah. Listen, we'll take close to normal. Well, Chike's out today. We'll let you take away with movie reviews.
Sure thing. So I actually saw a movie that won the Academy Award for Best International Film called Another Round. And this is a Danish film that follows a group of these four school teachers, I guess high school teachers, that have kind of hit some, I wouldn't say bumps, but their lives have gotten stale. Some of them aren't motivated in teaching anymore. Some of them, their home lives are kind of dragging. And one of them talks about this philosopher who says that human beings are born with a blood alcohol content of 0.05 less than they should be.
Oh.
So, yeah, I don't know if you've heard this movie, but it's...
You talked about this before, maybe not.
Yeah, sorry. And I have been talking about it so many times, but I finally watched it.
Okay.
And Mads Mikkelsen, he's one of the Bond villains. He was in Doctor Strange as a villain. He's the main character, but it's really, they decided to test this theory of how they can maintain while working at a school a blood alcohol content of 0.05. And at first they're sharper, they're more energetic. They actually care about their work, their school, their students and stuff like that. So they say, okay, well, let's go a little higher and see what happens there. And then eventually they just go to the extreme. And it's a good film. I liked it. It's interesting to see, of course, because especially I think in Denmark, according to the director, and maybe in a lot of places, the drinking culture is big there. The teenagers drink where, it's legal there. And it's kind of to show how that culture is and kind of the double-edged sword of alcohol and how it can be used in some aspects, but how it can be taken too far. So overall, it's a good film. I don't want to give away too much, but, of course, when they do too much, that's when things go wrong and they have to work on kind of repairing those relationships and kind of getting back to normal. But it's a good film. I do recommend it's on Hulu if you're looking for something different. Definitely check it out. It's also, international films give you a kind of a different idea of how the rest of the world operates. And I don't know how schools in Denmark work. I mean, in one scene, there's a sink in the hallway where people wash their hands. Again, it's cool to see that different aspect of what we grew up on. So highly recommend and worth checking out.
Awesome.
And then the other thing is I did finish Shadow and Bone. I don't know, Stephen, if you're into those kind of Game of Thrones style shows or the fantasy worlds or the kind of sci-fi.
I watch them, but it's not my go-to.
Okay. Well, Shadow and Bone's good. It's only 8 episodes. It's on Netflix. Again, it's about the world where there's this big kind of fog in the middle of this country and a lot of different storylines and different powers. And there's people with magic and stuff like that. But it's a fun watch. If you're looking for something on Netflix, definitely check it out.
Check it out. Okay. I did watch a movie. I watched Without Remorse. Featuring Tom Clancy Without Remorse, featuring Michael B. Jordan. It was on Amazon Prime. It was supposed to come out Friday, but it actually came out Thursday, which happens sometimes on Amazon. And I thought it was really good. I mean, it's kind of what you expect. I don't want to give it away, but what happens very early on, you're like, wow. Okay. I wouldn't have been the actress to play that role, but anyway.
Yeah.
But it was a good movie. It was well done. A lot of action.
Yeah, I heard it was. I was tempted to see it, but then after it got a lot of bad reviews, I decided to skip it. But I heard it was a movie it's like an 80s or 90s movie that still felt like it was in the 80s and 90s, right? Like the plot's not anything to think twice about. The action there, the explosions are there, and you know what you're getting into.
Yeah. I mean, it's good acting, but like you said, it is kind of just typical movie. You already know what's going to happen.
Yeah. I feel like, and it's interesting, I feel like Michael B. Jordan's hit or miss. He does good movies and then he does really bad movies, and you're like, I don't know if this is what you want to do. Maybe it is, or if your agent's in pitching you things, but it's very interesting to see his career trajectory.
Yeah. Well, If you have time, you have an hour, and I think it's like an hour, and it's less than 2 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, check it out. But anything else coming down the pipeline?
No, not really. I mean, I know we're getting kind of closer to blockbuster season, and I know like hits like Black Widow's coming out and things like that. But really, at the moment, nothing that's really like exciting me.
Oh, I heard that they announced the date. I don't know it for Black Panther 2 to come out.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah, I don't know that either. But is it this year?
No, I think it's next year. But I saw it trending on social media.
Okay.
I didn't click the link.
Well, I'll say that's good just because I'm ready to be back in the theater, and they're not open up here yet, really. So I'll wait. If it takes them a year for it to come out, I'll wait and see it in the theater.
Well, a lot of states are starting to open back up to 100% capacity in July.
Yeah, I heard the Atlanta United games are going to be 100%, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is a little, desperation, I guess. I don't know.
They had mentioned on one some show I was watching, a news show, that they're thinking about having vaccinated seating.
Okay.
That would be worth going.
Yeah. No, I'm down for that. It's interesting in DC, just kind of local politics. The mayor changed some of the guidelines without even telling the restaurants. They're like, oh, everyone can open up, and then she had to backpedal in her office because they didn't give anyone any notice that they were going to do this. And as restaurant workers, they need to be safe, so they need to know what's going to happen before it happens. And so it's very, seeing the state by state rollout has been very interesting to watch.
And some places they can't get enough people to come back to work, the waiters and staff.
Yeah. Shortage of service industry workers, right?
And in Oregon, they, lifted their restrictions. They had to shut it back down because of their numbers going back up. I mean, I don't have time for this. That's why I got that shot. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, everyone, any former co-hosts, tell them get their shots.
Right. Yeah. All right, Adam. Well, thank you as always. Let us know to spend our time on our money, and have a good week.
All right, you too.
Okay. Right back after this.